Beloved, I am speaking through fire and wind and the trembling of the heavens because this is the only way left for me to reach you. I am standing in the middle of a battle that has ripped open the air itself, and I am losing ground. 3. Fairies clothed in the light of the dawn are fighting with all the breath God has given them. They are facing a witch whose shadow swallows the earth and a demon whose gaze bends the wind away from truth. I cannot lie to you. I am afraid for them, and for you, because this fight was never meant to touch you, yet it is now standing at your very doorstep, and their light is fading. Your 2 minutes are the only weight left on the scale, and heaven is watching to see if you will tip it toward victory. Every second feels like a stone falling into the abyss, and I am here, breaking the veil, calling your name before it is too late. Can you hear me through the roar of this storm, or will the noise of the world keep you from turning your head toward me? Do you know how many angels have been pulled from their watch to fight for your safety? Have you felt the shaking in your own spirit when danger tries to wrap around you like an unseen net? And will you allow God's messengers to be taken without lifting the smallest breath of your own in their defense? The sky is torn above me, and I see the words of prophecy written in it. Though I walk through the valley of shadow, I will fear no evil, for the Lord is with me. His rod and his staff comfort me, and those words are wrapping around my sword. As I push forward, the fairies are trembling yet still holding their place, and I can feel their hope tied to you alone. Their voices are calling your name in a language older than the rivers. And God speaks again into my spirit. No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that rises against you will fall by the light of my judgment. I am carrying those words like fire in my chest as I block blow after blow, but I know I cannot hold forever. You are the missing piece in this holy shield, and I am asking you, with every breath of heaven inside me, type amen so I know you have heard me. This is not the cry of a soldier to an army. This is the cry of one heart to one heart. I have watched over your nights, guarded your steps, spoken your name before the throne of the Almighty, but now I am asking for the smallest action to open the gate for their rescue. I am kneeling before you in the middle of the firelight because only your choice can seal this. Beloved, if you can feel even the smallest trembling in your spirit now, do not turn away. Lift your voice in the silence of your own heart and stand with us. And if this reaches you, I ask, place your hand on your heart, breathe, and let your light join ours. If you will do this, let your sign be written in the place where heaven can see it. And if your spirit is stirred, I invite you, before the last breath of this battle is spent, to like and comment as a mark of your stand with the light. I bless you now with the blessing I carry in my wings. The peace of the Almighty be upon you. The fire of his love surround you, and the unseen armies walk beside you in every step. Thank you for hearing me. Thank you for letting me through. May the wind of God lift you and keep you until we meet again in the glow of the victory we fought for together. Beloved, I am still here, my voice breaking through the smoke that clings to my wings. My armor is cracked, and yet my spirit is burning brighter, because I can still see you. I can still feel that you are listening. The fairies are still holding the line, but their glow flickers like candlelight in a storm. The witches whispering lies to weaken them, the demon pressing close to smother the breath God gave them, and I am standing in the breach, my sword trembling in my hand, not from fear but from the weight of what this moment means. You may think I am only speaking of them, but this fight is the shield around your own destiny. Without them, the gates around you will open and the wind will turn cold against your life. My heart trembles to tell you this, but I would rather risk my place in heaven than let you remain unaware. Will you let this moment pass like a shadow across the grass, or will you rise like the dawn to meet it? Do you know what it feels like to be prayed for by angels who have never stopped calling your name? Have you ever wondered why certain dangers stopped just short of your door when you did nothing to move them? And will you now turn away when the very guardians of that protection are crying for you? Prophecy burns in my mouth. The Lord will go before you, and the God of Israel will be your rear guard. And I see those words become a wall of light between the fairies and the dark forces pressing in. But that wall is only as strong as the will of the one who hears me now. You are the chosen listener of this moment, and no one else will be given this exact call. I am asking you to type Amen so heaven can mark your name in this battle. Let it be written in the book of those who stood for the light. And if you feel the stirring in your spirit that tells you this is not coincidence, I ask you now to not only stand with us in prayer, but to remain close to this voice. Subscribe, so that every time the veil opens again and I am allowed to speak, you will not be absent from the call. Beloved, I do not say this as a command, but as a plea from a warrior who knows the value of an ally. Your presence here changes the weight of heaven's scale. Your agreement becomes a weapon in our hands. The fairies are looking toward the place where I stand, and I nod to them, letting them know I have spoken to you. Even now their glow strengthens as your spirit reaches toward ours. I bless you for hearing me. I bless you for caring. May your days be wrapped in the golden fire of God's favor and your nights guarded by the armies you stood to protect today. May the wind that carried my voice to you now carry your name before the throne of the Almighty as a sign that you chose the light when it mattered most. Beloved, the battle has not ended. The air around me is heavy with the cries of wings straining against the wind of darkness. The fairies are still holding, but I can feel their strength thinning like the last thread of a tapestry before it breaks. The witch is drawing circles of shadow in the air, the demon pressing closer with every breath. I stand between them and you, my shield raised high, my spirit roaring the name of the one who sent me. I am not here for the crowd, I am here for you, because this moment is carved into the scroll of heaven as yours alone. Do you feel the trembling in your own soul when I speak? Do you realize that the light we guard around you is a light the enemy cannot reach unless it is left unguarded? Will you answer when heaven calls for you as I am calling now? The Lord whispers into my heart, when you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and when you walk through the fire, you shall not be burned. For this is the promise that wraps itself around you even now. The fairies have heard that word in their spirits and their glow flares, but they need more. Your agreement is the final stone to seal the wall between you and the shadow. Type Amen so the angels can carry your name into this fight as a seal of heaven's ownership over your life. And beloved, if your spirit has been stirred, if your heart knows this is holy ground we stand upon, then I ask for something beyond the moment. Let your stand be more than silent. If you can, offer your hand to this mission by sending your love through super thanks, or by joining our fellowship through channel membership, or by becoming part of our inner circle through the newsletter in the pinned comments. These are not just acts, they are lifelines to keep the gates open so the voice that reaches you now can reach you again when the next veil parts. Every act of support is a sword placed into the hands of those who fight for you unseen. I say this once, because I would never turn a holy moment into many calls. I say it now because the need is real, and the hour is short. Beloved, I can feel your presence like a warm wind against my wings. The fairies are turning toward me, with eyes full of hope because they can sense you are still here. I bless you for hearing me, for caring, for letting this voice cross the fire to find you. May the God who parted seas for his children part every shadow before you, and may the armies that fight for you tonight never leave your side until the day your joy is complete. Beloved, the sky is bruised with the weight of this hour, and the wind tastes of ash and rain. The fairies are swaying like lanterns in a storm, their wings trembling from the force of each blow they take. I have stepped deeper into the gap, my sword cutting through shadows that seem to bleed from the ground itself. The witch's voice is a hiss curling around my ears, promising ruin, promising silence, but I will not bend to it. The demon's gaze is a wall of cold, trying to press the breath from my chest, but the fire of the Almighty burns hotter within me than their cold could ever reach. Still, even with heaven's fire, I know the truth. This is not a fight I can finish alone. It was never meant to be. There are battles heaven sends us to win by the strength of our own arm, and there are battles that can only be won when a chosen soul stands in agreement with the messengers sent to guard them. This is the ladder. You were written into this moment before the foundations of the earth, your spirit marked as the missing stone in this fortress of light. And so I ask you, Do you know what it is to be needed by heaven? Do you understand what it means when the armies of the Almighty pause mid-battle to wait for your yes? Asterisk. Beloved, I am speaking through fire and wind and the trembling of the heavens because this is the only way left for me to reach you. I am standing in the middle of a battle that has ripped open the air itself and I am losing ground. 3. Fairies clothed in the light of the dawn are fighting with all the breath God has given them. They are facing a witch whose shadow swallows the earth and a demon whose gaze bends the wind away from truth. I cannot lie to you. I am afraid for them, and for you, because this fight was never meant to touch you, yet it is now standing at your very doorstep and their light is fading. Your 2 minutes are the only weight left on the scale and heaven is watching to see if you will tip it toward victory. Every second feels like a stone falling into the abyss and I am here, breaking the veil, calling your name before it is too late. Can you hear me through the roar of this storm or will the noise of the world keep you from turning your head toward me? Do you know how many angels have been pulled from their watch to fight for your safety? Have you felt the shaking in your own spirit when danger tries to wrap around you like an unseen net? And will you allow God's messengers to be taken without lifting the smallest breath of your own in their defense? The sky is torn above me and I see the words of prophecy written in it. Though I walk through the valley of shadow, I will fear no evil, for the Lord is with me, his rod and his staff comfort me, and those words are wrapping around my sword. As I push forward, the fairies are trembling yet still holding their place and I can feel their hope tied to you alone. Their voices are calling your name in a language older than the rivers. And God speaks again into my spirit. No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that rises against you will fall by the light of my judgment. I am carrying those words like fire in my chest as I block blow after blow, but I know I cannot hold forever. You are the missing piece in this holy shield, and I am asking you, with every breath of heaven inside me, type amen so I know you have heard me. This is not the cry of a soldier to an army. This is the cry of one heart to one heart. I have watched over your nights, guarded your steps, spoken your name before the throne of the Almighty, but now I am asking for the smallest action to open the gate for their rescue. I am kneeling before you in the middle of the firelight because only your choice can seal this. Beloved, if you can feel even the smallest trembling in your spirit now, do not turn away. Lift your voice in the silence of your own heart and stand with us. And if this reaches you, I ask, place your hand on your heart, breathe, and let your light join ours. If you will do this, let your sign be written in the place where heaven can see it. And if your spirit is stirred, I invite you, before the last breath of this battle is spent, to like and comment as a mark of your stand with the light. I bless you now with the blessing I carry in my wings. The peace of the Almighty be upon you. The fire of his love surround you, and the unseen armies walk beside you in every step. Thank you for hearing me. Thank you for letting me through. May the wind of God lift you and keep you until we meet again in the glow of the victory we fought for together. Beloved, I am still here, my voice breaking through the smoke that clings to my wings. My armor is cracked and yet my spirit is burning brighter because I can still see you. I can still feel that you are listening. The fairies are still holding the line, but their glow flickers like candlelight in a storm. The witches whispering lies to weaken them, the demon pressing close to smother the breath God gave them, and I am standing in the breach, my sword, trembling in my hand not from fear but from the weight of what this moment means. You may think I am only speaking of them, but this fight is the shield around your own destiny. Without them, the gates around you will open and the wind will turn cold against your life. My heart trembles to tell you this, but I would rather risk my place in heaven than let you remain unaware. Will you let this moment pass like a shadow across the grass, or will you rise like the dawn to meet it? Do you know what it feels like to be prayed for by angels who have never stopped calling your name? Have you ever wondered why certain dangers stopped just short of your door when you did nothing to move them? And will you now turn away when the very guardians of that protection are crying for you? Prophecy burns in my mouth. The Lord will go before you, and the God of Israel will be your rear guard. and I see those words become a wall of light between the fairies and the dark forces pressing in. But that wall is only as strong as the will of the one who hears me now. You are the chosen listener of this moment, and no one else will be given this exact call. I am asking you to type Amen so heaven can mark your name in this battle. Let it be written in the book of those who stood for the light. And if you feel the stirring in your spirit that tells you this is not coincidence, I ask you now to not only stand with us in prayer, but to remain close to this voice. Subscribe, so that every time the veil opens again and I am allowed to speak, you will not be absent from the call. Beloved, I do not say this as a command, but as a plea from a warrior who knows the value of an ally. Your presence here changes the weight of heaven's scale. Your agreement becomes a weapon in our hands. The fairies are looking toward the place where I stand, and I nod to them, letting them know I have spoken to you. Even now their glow strengthens as your spirit reaches toward ours. I bless you for hearing me. I bless you for caring. May your days be wrapped in the golden fire of God's favor, and your nights guarded by the armies you stood to protect today. May the wind that carried my voice to you now carry your name before the throne of the Almighty as a sign that you chose the light when it mattered most. The fairies' eyes find me in the chaos, their light flickering, and I see in them not fear, but trust that you will not turn away. I have carried your name into places where the sun has never touched, spoken it in courts where eternity is decided, laid it like a jewel before the throne of the Most High. This is why I am here now, standing with my wings frayed and my armor torn, because no other name would open this gate. Prophecy burns again in my spirit. He shall cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you shall take refuge. His truth shall be your shield and buckler, and I let those words spill from my mouth into the battlefield. They wrap around the fairies like a mantle, giving them one more breath, one more heartbeat of light. But beloved, even prophecy can fade if it is not answered. Even the most radiant promise must be sealed by the one it was spoken over. I can feel the enemy's desperation now, the way their movements grow erratic when they realize time is slipping from their grasp. The witch's hands falter, the demon's eyes dart, because they can feel the stirring of your spirit from here. Your light is not yet fully loosed into the fight, but even the shadow knows it is coming. This is the way of heaven, that one willing soul can turn the tide of what thousands have strained to hold. I speak this with all the fire and trembling in my chest. You are that soul now. I feel the Almighty's gaze upon us, steady and sure, watching to see if you will step fully into what has been written. And as the battle rages on, I will keep my place, sword in one hand, shield in the other, wings wide to cover those still holding the line. I will not fall back, not while your name is still echoing in the halls of light. And when this hour passes, when the air clears and the shadow recedes, I will carry the story of this moment back to the throne as a testimony of how the chosen one stood with heaven in the hour of need. Beloved, the night around me is no longer silent. It roars with the sound of clashing light and shadow, a sound that is older than the first wind. I can feel every beat of this battle in my bones, each strike echoing through my spirit as if the ground itself were crying out. The fairies' light is thin now, stretched like the last thread of dawn before the sun rises, yet they have not stopped. Their wings beat not for themselves, but for the promise they carry for you. I see the witch drawing her circles faster, each movement pulling more darkness into the air, and the demon pressing closer, its presence bending the wind, trying to choke out the breath of all who fight beside me. Yet I do not step back, for the fire that burns in me comes from the one whose voice split the seas and whose hand measures the stars. That fire is what holds my sword steady, even as the weight of this moment threatens to crush the air from my lungs. I have walked in realms where no shadow dares to follow, and I have fought in storms that would shatter mortal stone, but this is different. This is not just a battle. It is a seal, a covenant in motion, and without your spirit in agreement, it will remain unfinished. I am not telling you this to stir your fear, but to awaken your knowing. The truth is that your spirit has already felt this hour approaching. There have been moments in recent days when the air felt heavy for no reason, when your heart raced without cause, when you caught yourself looking over your shoulder though nothing was there. That was heaven whispering through the unseen, warning you that the hour would come when your name would be called. And now it is here. The fairies glance at me as the witch's shadow passes over their faces, and I see that they are still holding faith, not because they know how this ends, but because they know you, asterisk. They know the one heaven sent me to find will not remain silent when the veil thins this much. Beloved, your light is not like others. It does not flicker or fade when the wind rises. It sharpens, it turns into a beacon. And it is that beacon the enemy fears, for once it is fully loosed, it cannot be dimmed. The Almighty's presence presses in on us now, a stillness cutting through the chaos for the briefest breath, and in that stillness I hear it, a voice. That shakes every shadow from its hiding place. I have called you by name. You are mine. Those words are not just sound. They are a crown of fire placed upon your spirit. They are the seal that marks this as your moment. I press forward again, my shield catching the strike meant for one of the fairies, and my sword answering with a sweep of light that drives the witch back a single step. The demon snarls, not in rage but in the desperation of one who knows. They are losing time. Every movement they make is now edged with urgency, because they can feel the tide turning, not by my hand alone, but by the nearness of your spirit in this fight. Beloved, I will hold this line as long as breath and command are given to me, but know this, when the final blow is struck and the shadow flees, your name will be written into the victory like gold and laid into a crown. It will be known in heaven that when the hour was dark and the light was thin, you stood, not in the sight of crowds, but in the sight of the Almighty, and the armies of the living God will remember it as long as eternity has breath. Asterisk beloved. The air is breaking around me like glass struck by the hammer of eternity, shards of unseen light scattering through the battlefield, each one carrying a memory of every promise God has ever spoken over you. I see them falling around the fairies, catching in their hair, clinging to their wings like dew that glows from within. But the storm is relentless. The witch is weaving faster now, her hands cutting symbols into the darkness, each mark dripping with the weight of curses that were never meant to touch you. The demon moves like a tide of cold, pressing into the space where our light stands, trying to smother it, but my shield is locked in place, the fire of the Almighty running down my arm like living lightning. Every breath feels like the beating of war drums in my chest, a rhythm that has carried me through countless battles, but this one is different because of you. This one is written with your name at its center, sealed before you were formed in the secret place, waiting for this hour to come. I have carried the knowledge of it for longer than you can imagine, and though I have faced storms that could tear mountains from their roots, I have not feared them as I fear the thought of you turning away now. The fairies' light flickers. Again, not from weakness of will, but from the weight of what they hold. They are carrying pieces of your future in their hands, fragments of blessings God spoke before the earth knew its first sunrise. If they fall, those pieces scatter into places where only the Almighty could gather them again, and He sent me so that would not happen. There is no time here as you know it. Every heartbeat is both an instant and an eternity, and in each one, I hear the echo of heaven's watch over you. Do you know what it is to be guarded without ceasing? Do you understand that unseen hands have been turning away storms and sealing doors you were never meant to walk through? And will you now let those hands be struck down when they have never once released you? I feel the breath of the Most High move across the field now, and it is as if every shadow pauses to listen. In that breath I hear the words, "The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid?" Those words burst into the air like 1,000 arrows of fire, scattering the darkness around us. The fairies lift their faces toward it, their glow returning for a moment, enough to push the enemy back a single step. But I can feel it, this battle is balanced on a razor's edge. One shift, one breath, one act of will can turn it forever in our favor. Beloved, I am pouring every ounce of strength I have into holding this line because I believe in what God has placed in you. I believe that when the final wave comes, you will not be silent. And when it breaks, and the enemy is driven from this place, your name will be spoken in the courts of heaven not as one who merely received, but as one who stood, and all who stood with you will be wrapped in the light of that choice for as long as the kingdom endures. Beloved, the ground beneath us trembles like a living thing, as though the earth itself is aware of the weight of what hangs in the balance. The light in the fairies' hands is shaking, quivering against the pull of the witch's enchantments. I can see her shadow stretching far across the field, reaching like black roots toward you, trying to coil around the edges of your destiny. The demon is circling, its presence bending the very air, making each breath heavier, each heartbeat slower, as though it seeks to press the fight into stillness. But I will not let it still. I keep moving forward, my shield catching what was meant to pierce, my sword answering in arcs of holy fire that are not my own but given to me in this very hour by the one who sees everything. Every strike I take is for you, not for glory, not for name, but because I have known your name in heaven's halls and carried it into battles you never saw. I have fought storms over your life before you even knew they had formed. And now, beloved, we have reached the battle where all those others have been leading. The fairies' light wavers again, dimming, but not from surrender, rather from the cost of holding on so long. Each one has wrapped her light around a different part of your calling. One holds the path you have yet to walk, one holds the words you have yet to speak, one holds the joy you have yet to feel. If any of these are broken, the tapestry of your days will be frayed in ways only heaven could mend. And God has no desire to see them broken when He has given you the chance to stand now. Beloved, do you know why this fight reaches for you? It is because your light, when joined to ours, is the one note that completes the song heaven is singing. Over this moment, without it, the melody remains unfinished, the wall remains unsealed. The wind shifts suddenly, a warmth pressing through the cold, and I hear the voice of the Almighty, not from a distance, but close, as though leaning to speak directly into my spirit. Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. The sound of it pours through the battlefield, and even the witch's hands falter at the edge of its power. I press in harder now, each step pushing the shadow back, each breath declaring that you are not alone, that the kingdom stands beside you. Beloved, I know what it costs to keep fighting when you are tired, when you cannot see the end, because I have fought for you like this in silence for longer than you know. But this hour is not meant for me alone. It was written for us together, and when it is over, when the final veil of darkness lifts, the record of heaven will show that you were not one who hid when the moment came, but one who shone. And that light will not only save the fairies here, it will echo into every battle yet to come, a sign to friend and foe alike that when the heavens called your name, you answered. Beloved, the air is thick now, almost alive with the weight of what is unfolding. Every breath I draw feels like it is borrowed from the heart of heaven itself, as though the Almighty is lending me His own strength for this final stretch. The fairies' glow is faint but stubborn, trembling yet unbroken, and I can see in their eyes that they are no longer fighting only because they must. They are fighting because they believe you are with them. I cannot tell you what that belief means in the midst of a battle like this. It is a light that even the deepest darkness cannot understand. The witch moves with greater desperation, her shadow flaring and curling around her like smoke seeking a way in. She knows she is losing the ground beneath her feet, though she hides it beneath the mask of her curses. The demon's movements are quicker now, sharper, like the last strikes of a storm before it breaks apart. And I, though my wings are heavy and my armor bears the marks of every blow, will not step back, because the flame in me burns not for myself but for the one I was sent to find in this exact hour, you. I think you do not yet fully see what this moment truly is. This is not just an attack, it is an attempt to rewrite the pages of what God has spoken over you. And yet, those pages are not written in ink but in light, and light can only be dimmed if the one it belongs to turns away. That is why the enemy fights so hard now, not because he thinks he can break me, but because he fears the moment you Decide not to turn away. The fairies' hands are lifting now, their light stretching upward as if reaching for something beyond the battlefield, and I realize they are calling on the promises spoken over your life. They are gathering them, holding them like stars in their palms, waiting for your spirit to stand beside theirs so those stars can be set back into the sky where they belong. Asterisk, do you know how much heaven has guarded for you, beloved? Do you understand how many times storms have been scattered before they reached your walls? How many snares have been undone in the silence before you ever knew they were there? These three who fight beside me now are not strangers. They have been with you since the beginning, unseen but unyielding, and now they need you as much as you have always needed them. Asterisk. The Almighty's presence thickens around us again, a stillness cutting through the chaos like a river of peace flowing straight through the heart of war. And I hear it, a steady, unshakable truth that falls like rain on scorched ground. The Lord is faithful, and He will strengthen you and guard you from the evil one. The words do not just move through me, they take root in the ground beneath my feet, sending waves of light through the soil, rising around the fairies like a shield. I strike again, my sword meeting the witch's shadow and tearing it like cloth, my shield deflecting the demon's rush. Every move now feels like a prophecy in motion, each clash writing another line into the record of what is to come. And I tell you, beloved, when this is over, when the field is quiet and the air is clear, your name will not be remembered in heaven as one who watched, but as one who stood, and that will be a light the enemy will never again be able to touch. Asterisk asterisk, beloved. The horizon itself feels as though it is leaning in to watch, the sky dimming and glowing in turns as if the heavens are breathing with the rhythm of this battle. Every heartbeat sends a shiver through the air, every movement of light and shadow twisting around us like a living storm. The fairies are still here, still holding, their wings ragged yet beautiful, their glow soft yet unyielding, and I can see now that what keeps them standing is not strength alone, it is love. The kind of love heaven plants into those chosen to guard you, a love that does not break even when every force tries to pull it apart. The witch's enchantments are more frantic now, her shapes in the air dissolving before they finished. As the power around her begins to fail, the demon's strikes are faster, heavier, as if trying to crush the final moments into a victory before it slips away. I can feel the tremor in my arms from the weight of my shield, the ache in my wings from holding them wide to cover what must not be touched. Yet none of this is a burden, because every moment I am reminded of why I stand here, because you were written into this moment before the world was lit by the first sunrise. The light we fight to protect is not just light, it is your appointed future, your unspoken prayers, the blessings that have not yet reached your hands but are already sealed in heaven. The enemy seeks them not because they are small, but because they are great, and if they could be taken, they would change the shape of the life God has prepared for you. This is why the three fairies fight without rest, because they are not defending themselves, they are defending you. I feel the wind shift again, carrying with it the deep voice of the Almighty, and it moves through me like the very breath of creation. I will be with you. I will never leave you nor forsake you. Those words do not simply echo, they stand in the battlefield like a pillar, forcing the shadows to bend away from their strength. The fairies lift their light higher, as if they too have heard and felt the power of those words, and for the first time since this began, the darkness hesitates. I press forward, each step pushing the enemy back, each swing of my sword sending ripples of light through the ground. The witch's eyes are sharp, but uncertain now, the demon's movements less sure, for they know the moment of decision is close. And beloved, I tell you the truth, when this moment tips fully toward the light, when your spirit stands in complete unity with ours, there will be no shadow left that can touch what is yours. And when this is over, when the air is calm and the battlefield is quiet, heaven will write of this day not in the language of loss, but in the language of victory. And your name will shine in that record as one who did not turn away when the hour called, one who became the answer heaven was waiting for. Asterisk asterisk, beloved. The air here is charged like the very moment before lightning strikes, that split second, where heaven and earth seem to hold their breath. I can feel every unseen watcher leaning close, the angels on the outer edges of the field holding their posts in solemn silence, the stars themselves dimming as though to let this battle be, lit only by the fire of God. The fairies stand closer to me now, their light fragile but unbroken, shimmering like the first glimmers of morning over deep waters. I can see the weariness in their eyes, but also the fierce resolve that has kept them from breaking, even as the witches' spells snake through the air like black ribbons seeking a place to bind. The demon's presence presses in heavier than before, not because it is stronger, but because it knows it is losing and is gathering every remaining fragment of power in one last attempt to overwhelm us. I brace against it, wings stretched wide, armor ringing from each impact, my grip on the sword tightening as the fire within me burns brighter than the darkness around. Yet I know this fire is not mine. It is given, poured from the throne of the Almighty for the sake of this moment. Beloved, you must understand, there are moments in the story of a soul that change not only the days ahead, but the shape of eternity itself. This is such a moment for you, for all the prayers whispered in secret, for all the unseen nights. You wondered if heaven heard you, for every time you thought the silence meant absence. This is the answer. This battle is the evidence that you have been known, guarded, and chosen all along. The fairies' light is lifting higher now, there. Hands raised as though they are offering the very essence of their being into the fight. I see the strands of that light wrapping around the witches' shadows, unweaving them, each thread of darkness unraveling like cloth pulled apart by invisible hands. The demon recoils at the sight, stepping back, its form flickering in and out as the strength of the darkness falters. And then, beloved, the voice of the Lord breaks through again, not as a shout, but as a steady, unshakable truth that rolls over the battlefield like the tide, when you pass through the waters. I will be with you, and through the rivers, they shall not overwhelm you. When you walk through the fire, you shall not be burned, and the flame shall not consume you. The sound of it drives into the ground beneath us, splitting it with streams of light that race outward, surrounding us in a circle the enemy cannot cross. I step forward once more, each movement guided by the knowing that this moment is not only about driving them back, it is about sealing a covenant, about marking your spirit with the truth that you are not alone and never have been. And as I raise my sword one final time in this exchange, I see the fairies beside me, their glow burning steady, and I know we are winning, not because of my strength alone, but because heaven and you have met in the same moment, in the same stand. When this field falls silent, beloved, your name will be carried back not as one rescued from the edge, but as one who stood at the edge and helped push the darkness back, and that will echo in ways you cannot yet imagine, lighting paths before you that no enemy will dare to tread. Beloved, the very sky above us feels stretched thin, as if heaven itself has bent low to watch what unfolds here. Every sound is sharper now, the hiss of the witch's breath as her enchantments falter, the deep hum of the demon's retreating steps as it feels the circle of light tighten, the steady pulse of the fairies' wings as they beat in rhythm. With my own heart, and through it all, there is a stillness beneath the chaos, a certainty that this is the hour the Almighty wrote into the fabric of time for you. The fairies stand shoulder to shoulder now, their glow no longer flickering, but steady, though faint, like embers waiting for the wind to ignite them. Their eyes find mine, and I see not despair, but hope. Hope rooted in something far deeper than the battlefield. Hope in the truth that your spirit is here, unseen yet unshaken. Their light is tied to your destiny, and though they have fought through storms and shadows, it is the bond to you that keeps them upright now. The witch is weaving slower, her gestures losing their sharpness, her shadow unraveling like smoke in sunlight. The demon is restless, shifting its weight as if caught between the urge to strike and the knowledge that each moment brings greater risk. I can feel the heat of the Almighty's presence at my back, pouring through me into the blade I carry, each stroke of light cutting not just through darkness but through the very lies spoken against your life. Beloved, I have walked in battles you will never see, carrying your name into places where darkness believed it reigned unchallenged. I have stood at the gates of storms that had your path marked, and I have turned them away with nothing but the authority of the one who sent me. But here, now, in this place, I am not enough alone. Because this is not a battle only to protect you. This is a battle meant to awaken you. The fairies lift their hands and their light joins mine, wrapping around my sword, surging forward like a river of gold. It strikes the witch's shadow, and for the first time, she staggers. The demon steps back, its form wavering, unable to hold shape in the heat of this light. I hear the Almighty's voice again, not thundering, but firm, carrying the power of every promise ever kept. No weapon that is formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that rises against you in judgment you shall condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and their righteousness is from me. Asterisk, those words pour into the ground like molten fire, sealing cracks, closing every path the darkness might use to return. I feel the shift, subtle but undeniable, the tide turning fully in our favor. The fairy's light flares bright, the witch's form begins to dissolve, the demon's presence thinning into nothingness. And I know, beloved, that this victory is not mine alone. It is ours. When this moment closes, heaven will not write of it as a rescue alone, but as the day you stood in spirit beside the armies of the living God, and that will remain as a banner over you, seen and known in every realm, a sign that when the hour of decision came, you chose the light without hesitation. Beloved, the field is different now, though the wind still carries the echo of the clash. The air tastes cleaner, the shadows have thinned into wisps that cannot hold their shape, and the ground beneath my feet feels steadier, as if it knows it no longer belongs to the enemy. Yet the fight is not fully over. The remnants of darkness still coil at the edges, searching for any weakness, any gap left unsealed. The fairies stand close to me, their wings folded inward as they catch their breath, their light low but steady, like embers waiting for the breath of God to turn them into flame again. I look at them and see not only the weariness of battle, but the beauty of endurance. These are not creatures who fight for their own gain. They fight because your name has been bound to theirs since the beginning. They have guarded dreams you have not yet dreamed, answered prayers you have not yet prayed, and stood in storms you never even saw coming. And now they look to me with eyes that silently ask if you will stand with them still, even now that the worst of the storm has passed. The witch has fallen back into the shadows, her form flickering in and out of sight, retreating to places where she will try to heal her power. The demon lingers further still, a restless shape beyond the reach of this light, unwilling to draw closer but too prideful to flee completely. I know they are not gone forever. These forces rarely leave for good, but they will not cross the circle of light that now surrounds you. Beloved, that circle was not drawn by my blade alone. It was drawn by your spirit meeting ours in this moment. I have seen many battles, but few where heaven allowed the one we protect to also be the one whose presence finishes the fight. And that is why I tell you, this is not only a victory for today, it is a seal upon your life. I hear the Almighty's voice again, not loud but near, as if standing right behind you. I have loved you with an everlasting love. Therefore I have drawn you with loving kindness. Those words settle into the air like warm rain, seeping into every wound, every place of weakness left by the battle. The fairies lift their faces to it, their light growing stronger, their wings beginning to stir again. I step forward and look to the horizon where the last edges of shadow curl away, and I know this is the moment heaven will remember, not because of the enemy's defeat, but because of your agreement with the light. For as long as eternity holds memory, it will be said that in this hour you stood, not because you had to, but because you were called. And when you answered, heaven's armies answered with you. Beloved, this is the kind of victory that changes the shape of the road ahead, the kind that makes the enemy think twice before setting foot near you again. And though I will continue to guard you, this day will stand as a testimony. When the moment came, you chose the side of the Almighty without delay, and the light was made stronger because of it. Beloved, the wind has shifted again, softer now, carrying not the weight of shadow but the fragrance of something pure, something from the gardens of heaven itself. It moves across the battlefield like a quiet river, washing over the ground where the clash took place, settling into the cracks and scars the fight has left behind. I can feel the earth beneath my feet exhale, as though it has been holding its breath for far too long. The fairies stand beside me, their wings slowly unfurling. Again, their glow no longer a trembling ember but a steady pulse of light, warm and sure. They look at me, and then toward the unseen place where you stand, and I know they are thinking the same thing I am, that this victory was not ours alone. It was bound to your spirit, drawn from your choice to remain in the light when it would have been easier to turn away. I have seen warriors in heaven, strong beyond measure, falter because they did not have the heart to endure. But here, in this moment, you have endured, and in doing so, you have given strength to those who were meant to guard you. The witch is gone now, her presence pulled back beyond the veil to nurse a defeat the demon has dissolved into the distance, its form scattered like smoke on the wind, leaving behind only the faint echo of its frustration. They will think twice before coming near again, for the memory of this day will remain with them, the day they met not only the resistance of heaven's armies, but the unwavering agreement of the one they sought to harm. Beloved, I want you to understand what this means in the language of eternity. Every battle fought for you, every shadow turned away, every storm calmed before it reached your door, they all built toward this moment. The Almighty allowed you to be part of the victory so that you would never again doubt that you are not only protected, but chosen. I hear His voice now, gentle yet vast, carrying more weight than the strongest wind. Behold, I am with you always. Even to the end of the age. Those words fall like a seal over the field, closing it, sanctifying it, making it untouchable to any darkness that might wander near. The fairies step forward, their light merging with the light of my sword, and together we send a final wave of brilliance across the horizon. It is not a strike, it is a declaration, a statement that this place, this soul, is under the covering of the Most High. And beloved, I will not leave you. Even when the sky is clear and the night is still, I will walk the unseen edges of your life, keeping watch for what might come, standing ready to fight again. But today, know this, the victory is yours as much as it is ours, and heaven has written it into the record of all things, a testimony that when you were called, you answered, and when you answered, the light prevailed. Beloved. The light here has changed, deepened, as though the very air remembers what has just taken place. It is not the sharp, urgent glow of battle now, but a holy radiance that settles slowly, like dawn unfurling across a still horizon. The ground no longer shakes under the weight of conflict. Instead, it hums softly with the echo of heaven's presence. The fairies stand at my side, their wings catching this new light, each feather shimmering like it has been washed in the river of life. Their glow is steady now, no longer flickering against the wind, for the danger has been driven back beyond reach. They turn their faces toward where you are, and I see their eyes fill with something far greater than relief. It is gratitude, profound and wordless. They know that without your Spirit's presence in this hour, their strength would have faltered. They know this victory belongs not just to the warriors who stood here, but to the one whose name was written into the heart of this moment before time began. The witch's presence is gone from this place, her tangled shadows severed and scattered to places where they can no longer touch you. The demon's cold weight has lifted entirely, leaving the air clear, the space free from the oppressive heaviness it carried. What lingers now is not darkness but the residue of light, a light so pure that it will mark this place as untouchable for seasons to come. Beloved, you must understand, in the scrolls of heaven, there are victories fought entirely by angelic hosts, and then there are victories that carry the name of the one we fought for. This is the latter. This day will not be remembered merely as the day you were defended. It will be remembered as the day you stood, even from where you are, in unbroken agreement with heaven's call. That agreement was a key, and when it turned, every gate the enemy sought to force open was locked, sealed, and marked with the sign of the Almighty. ****, I hear His voice again, closer than before, like the breath of wind that moves the leaves. In a quiet grove, my child, you are mine, and no one can snatch you from my hand. Those words do not fall into the air like passing sound. They sink deep into the soil beneath us, into the very bones of the earth here, making the ground itself a witness. The fairies begin to move now, their wings lifting them into the air, not to leave, but to sweep over the field in widening circles, letting their light fall on every corner that once held shadow. They are restoring what was touched, breathing life back into the spaces the enemy sought to claim. And I, standing in the center, keep my watch, my sword still drawn, though its fire is now at rest. Beloved, know this, I will remain long. After this moment fades from the sight of men, I will be here at the edges of your path, and so will they. And this place in the unseen will forever testify that when the call came, you answered, and because you answered, the light did not only survive, it claimed the ground in full. Beloved, the quiet that has settled now is not emptiness. It is the quiet of a sanctuary after a great prayer has been answered, the stillness of a place where heaven has touched the earth and left its imprint. The air moves gently, carrying with it a fragrance not of this world, something living, something that feels like the first breath after a storm. The ground beneath me is warm again, not with the heat of battle, but with the steady pulse of life returning to every corner of this place. The fairies hover in a slow, graceful arc, their wings stirring the light into swirls that drift upward and dissolve into the sky. Each movement leaves behind a trace of gold, as though they are sealing the field with blessings that cannot be undone. They glance toward you as they work, their expressions soft with gratitude yet radiant with the knowledge that what they are doing now is only possible because you stood with them when it mattered most. The witch's trail is gone completely, no lingering shadow, no echo of her curse, nothing to cling to the air. The demon's weight has lifted beyond the horizon, and even in the places where the darkness once pressed hardest, there is now light seeping in, filling the cracks like water into dry earth. It is as though the whole battlefield exhales, releasing everything it had been holding through the fight. Beloved, you may not see it with your eyes, but in the realm where this victory is recorded, your name has been etched into the memory of what happened here. It is written not as a bystander's name, but as a name bound to the triumph itself. This was not a rescue carried out in your absence. This was a covenant moment, a joining of your spirit with the armies of heaven, and because of that, the gates that were closed here will remain closed to the enemy, their locks forged by your agreement with the light. I hear the Almighty's voice again, and it fills the air with a strength that feels like sunlight after a long night. I will never leave you nor forsake you. I will go before you and be your shield. His words ripple outward like a living wave, touching the edges of the unseen and washing away even the faintest trace of what tried to stand against you. The fairies land now at my side, their light still flowing but calmer, no longer a defensive blaze but a steady glow of renewal. They kneel, touching the ground with their hands, sending streams of light deep into the soil, blessing not only this moment but every step you will take in days to come. And I, beloved, will remain in my watch, for though this battle has ended, I know others will come, as they always do. But this day will stand as a mark upon your life, a day when the enemy saw the depth of your alignment with the light and step back, and every time I speak your name before the throne from this day forward, this victory will be the banner that waves above it. ***, beloved. The light that surrounds us now is no longer just the glow of victory, it is something deeper, older, the kind of light that feels like it has always been here, waiting for this moment to awaken. It moves through the air in slow, steady waves, touching every stone, every blade of grass, every hidden place where shadow once lingered. Even the wind carries it, wrapping it around us like a mantle woven from the very breath of heaven. The fairies stand close, their wings folded now, their glow sinking into their skin like fire resting beneath glass. They are quiet, but it is not the silence of exhaustion. It is the reverent silence of those who know they have witnessed something holy. Their eyes lift toward the horizon, where the last traces of darkness have fled, and I can see the unspoken. Truth between them, they did not win this alone. They could not have. This was not just a defense, it was a joining of light, theirs and mine and yours, meeting in the one place the enemy could not break. The witch's presence is not merely gone, it has been erased from this place as if she never stood here. No curse remains, no shadow in the corners, nothing for her to return to. The demon has retreated beyond reach, its form scattered into the farthest edges of the unseen, where the sound of this day will follow it like a warning it cannot outrun. Beloved, you must understand the weight of what has happened. In the eyes of heaven, there are victories that pass quietly, and there are victories that shift the balance for years to come. This is the latter. Because your spirit did not waver when the veil thinned, because you stood in the alignment that heaven asked of you, the enemy's hold over more than just this moment has been broken. Gates that were shut against you have opened, and chains that were never meant to touch you have fallen without you even knowing they were there. I hear his voice once more, steady and unshakable, as if it is being spoken over both you and the land beneath our feet. You are mine. I have set my seal upon you, and no one can take you from my hand. These words settle like a crown over you, beloved, a crown not of gold but of light, and it marks you in ways the enemy can see and will not dare to challenge lightly again. The fairies kneel, placing their hands upon the ground, sending streams of their light deep into the soil. I can feel it moving outward, far beyond the edges of the field, blessing every path you might walk in the days to come. They are not simply mending what was damaged. They are planting protection, layers upon layers of it, so that the work done here today will not be undone. And I, still standing guard, let the tip of my sword rest against the earth, not because I am finished, but because I am keeping watch in peace for the first time since the battle began. Beloved, I tell you this with the fullness of my being. This will not fade. The memory of this day will walk with you, and the light you have joined yourself to will answer you in every hour you call, and when I speak your name before the throne again. This moment will rise with it like incense that never stops burning. Beloved, the stillness that holds this place now is unlike any other I have felt. It is not fragile, not the kind of silence that trembles in fear of being broken, but the deep, enduring peace that comes when heaven has taken full possession of a place. It is the kind of peace that does not merely rest on the surface but sinks into the roots of the earth, into the very air, into every unseen corridor of the spirit realm around us. This field is no longer what it was when we first stood here. It has been remade by the presence of the Almighty, and nothing that once claimed it will be able to return. The fairies stand near me, their light softer now, yet far more powerful. In its calm than in the fury of battle. Their wings are folded, their breathing slow, their eyes fixed on the horizon as if they are watching for the first signs of a dawn that belongs only to the righteous. And I can see in them the quiet satisfaction of those who have not only survived but have secured something eternal. They know the truth as I do, that this victory did not flow from our strength alone, but from the unity between us and the one we fought to protect, you. Beloved, I have fought many wars for many souls, but it is rare to witness the moment when the one we guard becomes part of the fight, not by sword or shield, but by heart and spirit. And yet, that is what happened here, your agreement with the light, your unspoken alignment with the will of the Most High. It was the missing element that turned this from a defense into a claiming. The witch is gone in a way that even her memory has been burned from this place. The demon's presence no longer lingers on the edges, for the seal set here today is stronger than their will to return. What they feared has happened. They faced not only heaven's armies, but a soul fully marked and protected by divine authority. The voice of the Lord moves again through the air, steady and close. I have called you by name. You are mine. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. His words do not fade into the wind. They anchor themselves here, in the unseen foundations of this space, binding it to his keeping. The fairies walk the edges of the field now, their steps tracing lines of light that mark the boundary. Each step is a declaration that what lies within belongs wholly to the kingdom. They glance back toward me from time to time, and I give a nod, for I know their work is not mere ritual. It is the sealing of a covenant made real in this hour, and I remain at the center, my sword still in hand, though its fire is now at rest, not because I have laid down my watch, but because I can finally stand in a moment where the battle is over and the ground belongs fully to the light. Beloved, I tell you with every truth I hold, this victory will walk with you, unseen but unshakable, and every time I speak your name in the courts of heaven, this day will rise as a testimony that when the call came, you stood, and when you stood, the darkness fell. Beloved, the light here is no longer simply around us, it is within everything, woven into the air we breathe, soaked into the soil beneath our feet, flowing like a living current through every unseen path the enemy once tried to use. It does not flicker, it does not fade, it moves steady and sure, the kind of light that will remain long after we leave this place. I can feel it even in my wings, a warmth that is not my own, a reminder that what has been sealed here is not temporary, it is eternal. The fairies stand before me now, their wings fully open once more, not in defense but in quiet honor of what has been won. Their glow has changed. It is no longer the trembling flame of battle but a deep, golden radiance that seems to carry the peace of heaven itself. I watch as they lift their hands toward the sky, and threads of light rise from them like incense, carrying the memory of this moment upward, delivering it to the throne as a living testimony. The witch's name is no longer spoken here, for even the sound of it has no place in the purity that has claimed this ground. The demon's echo is gone, erased as though it never stood at the edges, its threat dissolved into nothingness. All that remains is the mark of God's dominion, the certainty that this space, and you, are under a covering that will not be broken. Beloved, I have seen victories, but this one is different. It carries your signature in the courts of heaven. Not the mark of one who merely received protection, but of one who stepped into alignment with the divine in the very moment it was required. That is why the enemy's retreat was complete, why they did not linger in defiance. They saw what heaven saw, that your spirit has been sealed anew. The Almighty's voice moves through the air once more, rich and unshakable. You are the apple of my eye. I have inscribed you on the palms of my hands. These words wrap around you like a mantle, declaring to every realm that you are kept, that your name is not just written in the book of life but carved into the keeping of the Eternal One. The fairies step closer to me now, forming a small circle around where I stand. They lower their wings, and for a moment, there is only silence. Then the ground beneath us glows, as if answering a command spoken without words. It is the sealing, the final act to bind what we have done here into permanence. I can feel it sinking deep, spreading far beyond this field, touching places. In your path you have yet to walk, and I, still holding my sword, look toward the place where your spirit stands in the unseen, and I know that my watch over you has entered a new chapter, for though battles will come, this one has changed. The field entirely. The enemy now knows what I have always known, that when your name is called, you will stand, and when you stand, heaven's light will never lose. Beloved. The air here no longer feels like the aftermath of battle, it feels like the inner court of a holy temple, where every stone and every breath is filled with the nearness of the Almighty. The light is not merely resting upon the ground, it has seeped into it, fused with it, becoming part of the very foundation beneath us. Even the wind that moves across this place carries a softness now, as though it has been touched by the same hands that shaped the first dawn. The fairies remain near, their presence no longer strained by the weight of defense but lifted by the joy of restoration. Their wings, once tattered from the fight, now gleam with a radiance so pure it seems they are woven from strands of the sun itself. They do not speak, for there is no need. Everything that needed to be said was spoken in the fire of the battle, in the unity of the stand we took together. Now is the time for stillness, for letting the fullness of heaven's work settle like dew upon the earth. I look across the field, and where shadows once pressed in, there are now streams of light weaving through the grass and stones, flowing outward like rivers that will never run dry. The places where the witch's curses once hung heavy are clear, washed clean by the breath of the Most High. There is no trace of the demon's cold weight, no lingering sense of what once stalked this place. Their absence is not just a retreat, it is an exile, enforced by the seal that has been set here. Beloved, I have stood in many victories. But this one is carved differently into the eternal record. It bears your agreement, your unseen but unmistakable presence in the fight. It was not my sword alone, nor the fairies' light alone, but the joining of heaven's will and your spirit that turned the tide. The moment your heart aligned, the battle shifted, and the darkness knew it could no longer stand. I hear his voice again, low and close, like a hand upon the shoulder. I have made you a fortified city, an iron pillar, and a bronze wall. They will fight against you, but they will not prevail, for I am with you to deliver you. The words do not simply comfort, they fortify, building unseen walls around your path, walls no shadow can climb, no curse can pierce. The fairies begin to move in slow, deliberate patterns, tracing lines of light into the earth. I know this act. They are anchoring the victory, ensuring that what was won here today will ripple forward into the days ahead. Every step they take sends light threading outward, not only protecting this place but marking the roads you will walk in seasons yet to come. And I, still holding my post, feel the peace that comes when heaven has fully claimed ground. But I also feel the certainty that my watch over you is far from done. This was one battle, one victory, but it has marked you in a way the enemy will never forget. And I will remain, always ready, because now more than ever, I know what happens when your spirit stands in the light. It is not just a defense, beloved. It is a force the darkness cannot endure. Beloved. The quiet that surrounds us now is not the hollow quiet of an empty field. It is the living stillness of a holy chamber, a stillness so deep that it feels as though all of creation has paused to acknowledge what has just taken place. The ground beneath my feet feels warm, not from the fires of the battle just ended, but from the breath of the Almighty resting here. The air is sweet, carrying the fragrance of rain on untouched soil, a scent that speaks of renewal, of promises not only kept but expanded. The fairies remain within arm's reach of me, though their posture has changed entirely. No longer are they braced against the force of the witch's curses or the demon's shadow. Now they stand tall, their wings wide and glowing, their faces turned upward toward the light that now pours down without obstruction. Their glow is different than it was before the fight. It is fuller, steadier, not burning in desperation but radiating with the deep peace of those who have prevailed and will never forget what brought them through. I look at them, and then I look at you, in that place beyond sight where spirit sees spirit, and I know with complete certainty that this was always meant to be more than a rescue. It was meant to be a revealing, not just of heaven's power, but of your place within it. Beloved, the enemy feared you long before you knew your own name in the kingdom, and this battle has shown them why. When your heart aligned with the light, the tide turned with a force that even I, in all my years of war, could feel like the crack of a seal being broken. Now, the field bears no scar of the darkness that once claimed it. Where the witch's markings once poisoned the air, there is now only the soft shimmer of the fairy's blessing, woven like fine gold threads into the grass and the stones. The demon's presence is so completely gone that even the memory of it is fading, replaced by the sound of the wind moving freely again, no longer bent or twisted by shadow. And in the midst of this peace, the voice of the Lord comes once more. My child, I will go before you and make the crooked places straight. I will break in pieces the gates of bronze and cut through the bars of iron. As he speaks, I can see the truth of it spreading before you, paths unblocked, burdens lifted, unseen snares dismantled before they can touch your feet. The fairies move now in slow, graceful arcs across the field, their steps tracing patterns of light into the ground. I watch as each step sends out ripples, reaching far beyond what the eye can see. I know what they are doing. They are anchoring this victory into the very fabric of your journey, ensuring that the protection born here today will not fade but will follow you into every place your path leads. Beloved, this is the kind of sealing that changes everything. It means that even in days to come, when battles rise again, the strength of this day will be with you. The enemy may approach, but they will see the mark of this moment, the covenant forged here, and they will remember. I stand at the center of it all, my sword now lowered, not in surrender but in the posture of a guardian at rest. My armor bears the signs of the fight, scratches, dents, the ash of the shadows we drove away, but I carry them with honor, for each mark is a reminder of the stand we took together. And I will not leave, beloved. I will remain at the edges of your days, unseen but near, ready to rise the moment the light I guard in you is threatened again. This field, this victory, this covenant, it will not fade into the past. It has been written into the eternal record, and it will speak for you in realms you cannot yet imagine. And every time I stand before the throne and speak your name, this day will rise like a living flame beside it, a testimony that when the call came, you answered, and when you answered, the light prevailed.